Shabbat shalom, everyone. I hope you're doing well. This week's Parsha, if you follow my mouse, is Terumah. So we are here in the book of, if you see this is on Chabad.org, this is the list of the Parshiot. So we've read through the entirety of the book of Bereshit, the book of Genesis, and we're over halfway through the book of Shemot, the book of Exodus. So if we can see, we're like, sort of two-fifths through the books of the Torah. The reason that I'm showing this is for context for what the Parsha of Terumah is about. So Terumah means a contribution. And what Terumah begins with is God telling Moses to tell the Jewish people, bring a contribution so that we can build this mikdash, this mishkan, a place of holiness. God says, "V'asuli mikdash v'shachanti betocham," and build me a sanctuary so that I may dwell among them. Betocham, among you, actually, among you, among all of you people, all you Jewish people. And what ends up happening is the Parsha of Terumah is about building the Mishkan. The Parsha Tetzaveh is about building the Mishkan. Parts of Ki Tisa are about building the Mishkan, but Ki Tisa is also about the sin of the golden calf, Chet HaEgel. The book of Vayakhel, the Parsha of Vayakhel is also about building the Mishkan, and the Parsha of Pekudei is also about building the Mishkan. Okay, all of these Parshiot are about building this temporary dwelling that we have only in the desert, because the Mishkan is different than the Mikdash. We have the Mishkan in the desert and the Beit HaMikdash when we get to Jerusalem, to Israel. We have the big proper temple that you're picturing where we used to do sacrifices and whatever. All of this to describe building this temporary dwelling. How long does creation take? Creation takes like 1/20th of the book of Bereshit to talk about. But we talk about this portable Mishkan, this portable tabernacle for like 5 parshas. I'm going to stop sharing now. My point is, it's kind of a crazy amount of time to be talking about this one portable thing that's not super relevant to Jewish life now. But the message is very relevant. And the message comes from the first word in the first important word in the Parsha, which is Terumah, a contribution. God says, tell all the people whose heart encourages them to give gold and silver and copper and wool and dyed this and jewels and this, all these things. Everyone whose heart wills them to give should give. And then the people give. They give so much that there's actually too much now that's being given. So the Jewish people are so willing to give here. And what's the difference between this Jewish people and the Jewish people that we've experienced in the past Parshiot? The past Parshiot, immediately after, or right before being freed from Egypt, when they're standing at the right at the Red Sea, and they see the Red Sea in front of them and they see Pharaoh behind them, they're like, why did you take us out of Egypt? Were there not enough graves in Egypt? Do you have to take us out here to bury us? And then immediately they're freed. The most amazing thing happens: the sea splits, the Jewish people walk on dry land, Pharaoh's army is destroyed, and then the Jewish people get out, and there's not enough food or water. Okay, so they have food and water, or they're given water, and the water is bitter. The water's not sweet enough. The Jewish people are just complaining, complaining, complaining. And why are they complaining? They're complaining because they feel out of control, because they have this sort of victim mentality. I'm not victim blaming. I'm saying they have a victim mentality of being slaves for 200 years, for being, generation of slaves in the land of Egypt. And they don't have foresight, and they don't have faith. And they don't have foresight because they have not experienced calm, consistent support from any sort of figure like God. That's not been the case for the Jewish people because they were living in the land of Egypt. And they don't have faith because they can't see God. They can see God's wonders, they can see this, they can see that. But the only thing that calms the Jewish people down, that stops them, at least for a little bit, of course, like I said, we have the sin of the golden calf at some point in the middle of these 5 parshiot. The only thing that calms them down is being able to contribute, being able to give back. If we say there is a giver, if we say there is a creator, there is a God, then we can give back. If we say there's no creator, there's no way to give, then life is random and nothing matters. Life is not random. Everything does matter. And giving is so unbelievably important for us to function and to feel like human beings. We have to contribute. We have to be productive. That makes us feel good biologically. We're animals. We have the characteristics of animals sometimes, that we need to feel like we're doing something in order to feel like we're moving forward. And that's the huge reminder here. That's the big message of the Mishkan, is that the Jewish people had to feel like they were contributing, and that they could see a place where God was, that God was dwelling among them. Shachanti, like the idea of like dwelling, the word for neighbor is shchen, like nearness, closeness, that the Jewish people needed to see this physical manifestation of the fact that God was with them in order to calm down and stop being so such complainers. And so that is the message of Terumah. It's that we all must contribute and we all must give in order to feel satisfaction in our lives. And I think that's so relevant as ever, that people need to contribute to society in order to feel productive. And that's that. That's Terumah. Shabbat Shalom. God willing, all of you will have a great weekend, and I'll see you, God willing, next week.